Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be going through my portfolio and ranking my best down to the worst investments in my passive income ETFs, going through the total returns, price appreciation, dividends, all of that. As always, guys, nothing in this video is financial advice. So starting off at the top, you guys can see it's ranked from my best all the way down to the worst. So we're going to start at the top with HDIV. This is a mix of Canadian and American. It's mostly Canadian, though, a lot of financials and banks in here. But basically, guys, you could see here that my total profit is close to 28%. So I've got a capital gain of close to 25% on this one. The share price appreciation has been pretty huge, as well as some dividend increases. You guys can see down here under income, my dividend yield is 10, just over, the dividend yield on HDIV is just over 10%, and my yield on cost is over 12.5% because it's had those natural dividend increases. So this has been my best performing ETF. Next up is Canoe EIT. So this one also is a mix of Canadian and US. And you guys will see here that my total profit on this is close to 25%. Not a huge dividend on this one, and it hasn't had any dividend increases, but you can still see because I bought it and held it, my yield on cost is almost 9%, but the current yield is closer to 7%. Instead of increasing their dividend, this one just seems to grow the share price. This has still been a good investment, although I would love it if they increase the dividend. Another thing I will say, guys, is building equity. Whatever type of investments you buy, the longer you hold them, the more you'll build that equity, right? So you build up that share price appreciation as the price naturally grows over time. And third place is HYLD. So HYLD is in third place in my portfolio. Some of this, as I just said, guys, has to do with when you bought it and how long you've held it. HDIV and Canoe EIT I've held the longest. HYLD, you guys will see here that my total profit is over 17%. And the current yield is about 12.2 with my yield on cost about 13.2. So it still had a few dividend increases since I've owned it, and closing in up to that 20% return. ENCC, surprisingly, I've held this one for a long time too, so it's probably why. I haven't had a lot of capital appreciation, although ENCC it's been rising lately. And I bought it, I guess, at a decent time. My cost per share is about 10.43. So my total profit on this one is close to 16%. This is just Canadian oil and gas stocks with covered calls. And the capital gain it's been rising recently. This fund's been coming back. So, again, guys, over 15% on ENCC. And C-Day, I haven't held C-Day for that long. It's actually a pretty new ETF. If we look back, when did I first buy it here? I bought it in the summer, sometime around July, I guess, is when I started to buy it. So I haven't even had it for maybe six or 7 months. But my total profit is closing in on 12%. So I've got a decent capital gain on this one. And then it's still had a little bit of dividend growth in there too so far. So this has been a pretty good investment, guys. This is C-Day. It's Canadian blue chip dividend stocks with extra yield from S&P 500 call options on there. But it's an interesting fund. So this has been doing pretty good since I've owned it, closing in on 12% just in that short time. USCL, it's been a little bit disappointing lately, I will say. I got into it last year. When did I buy? Just before that big dip I bought. So I started buying. You guys can see here, I did a big buy just up around that $24 range. We had that huge crash. It did recover fairly nicely, but it's been, I don't know, even just this month, they slashed the dividend just a little bit, like half a penny. But I've been a little bit disappointed with USCL the last couple months, I'll say that. So Here is my returns. Total profit coming in at close to 10%. Overall, I'm down on the share price just a little bit, and but I've received, over $13,000 in dividends. So all of those dividends that it has paid out have really cushioned what that share price has been lacking. Although I just feel that share price should have been coming up a little bit more. I don't know why it hasn't been. The S&P 500 is all-time highs, and they still slashed their dividend this month. I don't understand that, because HYLD never did. HHIS now, haven't had this one for too long, maybe about a year. But this one, the share price is down a little bit compared to when it came out. My average cost is around 12.50, so that was like their inception price. So I'm down on share price. So on my capital, if I were to sell it, I'm down over 4,500, but I've received over $8,000 in dividends. So that still comes in for a total profit of over 3.4% on HHIS. And Q-Day, I haven't had that long. I just bought last month, or this month, I guess. Total profit of 2.7%. I kind of bought it on a little bit of a dip. Bought it for 25.35, and today it was up at 25.85. I've noticed Q-Day has been like trading around 26 or higher, so I figure anything under 26 is decent. But yeah, I've got some dividends up there as well. So Q-Day, we'll see how it does. I haven't had it for too long. And then my worst performing investment, my only position that I have in just one single asset. Everything else I have is diversified. This is BCCC from Global X. This is a Bitcoin covered call fund. So basically, guys, you can see here I pretty much invested close to $5,000, and the value of that has dropped down to below $4,000. Total profit of negative 10%. I have got close to $500 in dividends out there, and that's cushioned it a little bit. But Bitcoin has not been doing that good. It'll come back, I'm sure. But this is why I keep this a small position. I put in that $5,000, and I'm not putting thousands in. I'll reinvest the dividends back into this one, and but this one is my worst performer at negative 10%, and I've had it for a little while. When did I start buying it? I bought it in the summer, I guess. So I haven't actually had it that long. So we'll see in the long run how it does. But everything else is in the green one way or another, even stuff like USCL and HHIS, where I'm technically down on the capital if I were to sell it. I've still got all of those dividends that have come in that cushion the downside, and still, you're still in the green as far as a total profit goes. And once these funds pay out again in the next week or so, that number will be a little bit higher. I wish everything could be closer to like an HDIV or a Canoe EIT or even HYLD. So that's why it's good to analyze your portfolio, see which ones are doing well, maybe add to the ones that you feel are performing better. Personally, guys, I feel like USCL should be performing better, and it's kind of at risk now of getting swapped out of my portfolio, but we'll see how it does. I'm not making any drastic changes right now. I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on it, and I think I'll direct some of those dividends into other ETFs for the time being. Anyways, guys, this was my portfolio review of my best performers down to my worst as of today. Of course, guys, as time goes on, things will change, and the longer you're invested, the more equity you build, the more total returns you will have. Anyways, guys, have a great week out there. Catch you in the next video.